This is Ever Pierce, and it is January the 7th, 2016. And we are watching Judge Jeannie Pirro, and it's 10 minutes to 7. Now, I want to clarify some things on the topic of hacking. Now, that's under communications, duly noted communications, and because that's what's in the news. Now, there are several things that I'm going to explain. It'll make a lot of sense to you. And I'll make reference to the seventh heaven. Now, on the seventh heaven is, well, first of all, my name is Everett Pierce of Einstein 314. On the seventh heaven is our government, our administration, is we encourage anyone, and we have some of the best there. We encourage them all, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything else. Because we put a system together that essentially it doesn't get any better. Okay. And we encourage this. And like we see with some companies out there, and you get some hackers out there and say, well, he hacks into the government. Well, instead of throwing this kid in jail, is they try to use him as a tool. Meaning is, what does he know and what he can add to their system. Okay, but our system, we ran into a problem. That our best there, the worst of there, okay, which is far better than the best here, just could not hack our system. It was we covered so many angles and areas of communications that they came back. Their gripe was, their legitimate was, it was no fair. It was no contest. And I said, well, okay. So what we did, we deliberately put a window of opportunity in there. And even with that, with certain guidelines of energy, the foundation of energy, is they still weren't able to do it because they have not developed certain skill sets to catch that window of opportunity. So it's kind of like, the best way I can explain it is, you got a cheetah, and that cheetah is running 90 miles an hour this way, and you're a sniper, and you are to shoot that cheetah in a rolling motion. As you're moving this way, going round and around, you got to shoot that cheetah. So when you have something that's constantly moving, okay, I call it the window of opportunity. So many people try to land that, and actually came out to a plus, because there was a sense of hope there if they were able to develop it in a way to catch that window of opportunity. Okay, and none of them to this day has figured it out, because in their development of evolution, okay, my ranking is A through Z times. So my next ranking will be double A through Z. Is their intelligence is, they're limited by their evolution and their development. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why they can't hack our system, because we are so far advanced. What I put up in there, there's that limitation. Okay, and you say, what kind of limitation you're talking about? Okay, so it'd be, I tell a female, I want you to get pregnant, and there's no males. You have no access to a male, to the penis, and you are to get yourself pregnant. And she'll say, it's impossible. So, as I said, as Einstein, objective and creative, is you list all the things you want in there. Okay, you have to make two lists. You have to make a list of all the things that internet isn't in terms of communications. And then you list of all the things you can possibly list in there of things that could be part of that communication. So if you know what you can put in there, And especially focus on that list that it isn't. So my generals, when they come to me, and there's a, what does it say, on a parable, and this guy takes his semi and runs it into a crowd of people, is he's to come to me. He's to start identifying what this person isn't. We hold these truths to be self-evident. It isn't this, it isn't that, it isn't this. So we get rid of first we get rid of the discombobulation. And then what's left? So if I got 100 people in the room and I'm looking for one person, okay, you say, I want you to go in that room. The person I'm looking for is exactly 6'1". And obviously, as we develop our sense of judgment and height, and you can pretty much take 80% of them out, 90% of them out, who's obviously like 5'9", 5'10". Well, that narrows down. It's called process elimination. So, okay, say out of that 100 now I have 10. Okay, on the 90-10 factor. Okay, so there's going to be one in there that's exception to the laws of energy. You know, it's like an Elvis impersonator. It will look so, it'll be the slightest of difference that you would tell them apart. So now as they're getting closer, like we see in American Idol, or The Voice, or America's Got Talent, is now you got them all together. And as we experience is, as they are singing amongst each other, then you have that one individual that just without any effort, they just shine. And it's obvious. So that's one of the tactics that we use there. So it's not that my system is unhackable, is that we are so far advanced. They're limited by their evolution and how they can think. And then also too is think of, there's another variable of limitation. You know, it's not limitations you put upon yourself, it's limitations that is present. Okay, so if you're only able to think as fast as, say, 1,000 miles an hour, but to hack my system, you have to be thinking not 1,000 miles an hour, 1,000,000 miles an hour. And that's what their discrepancy was. It's like, everything ain't no fair. It's like, what do you mean it's no fair? I'm giving you the opportunity. Think things out. And use it as a means to help develop yourself. Well, okay, I will deliberately put a window of opportunity in there. Not that it will let you inside our system. But if you find that window and you get in there and we see that you've been in there, now you have earned certain credibility. Okay, now let's put another tone to this. Okay, we've heard the old statement of don't put the buggy ahead of the horse. Okay, and what we're seeing out there is like we want to focus on Russia, 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 Russia. I feel like the Brady Bunch. Marsha, 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 Marsha. It's always Marsha. Okay, when you complain about Russia and not focus on your fallible and your incompetency as to why it was even hackable, it's like the man used a password, from what I hear on the news, he used password. I mean, routers, out of the box, when you hook them up, modems and routers, the password is password. Okay, now sometimes I understand that to hide something from them, you put it right in front of their face. So I understand that concept, but when someone's trying to hack your system, and it doesn't help when you tell the person your password, okay, so say for example, and I'm not just, any particular one. I mean, I used to have Netflix, okay, so I'm going to use this as my parable to teach you this. You have to understand when you have to establish intent. Okay, say I hack Netflix and say, well, why would I hack Netflix? Maybe because I don't want to pay $10 a month to watch movies. Okay, so I hack it and I get free movies and they don't even know it. Okay, with my hacking, did it take the company down? Did it crash? Did it go under? Is it bankrupt? No. there are other reasons why people hack. And like I told there on the seventh heaven, I encourage you. You know, if you're bored and you have nothing else to do, try to hack my system. Because I also have things in play there that will help you develop you in your evolution. So it's a multiple system there. So not only is it going to protect my nation, but in the process of hacking my system, it's also going to teach you as my apprentice. And it was like, that was another things that they would get mad at. And it was like, damn it, Everett. And it's like, now, and it was like, what are you mad about? I mean, you just learned something else about your evolution that you didn't know before. Yeah, but you got that son of a bitch, so we can't even hack it. You know, so it takes on a different tone to things. So if I hack Netflix, now if I hack Netflix and I destroy their servers, or I get into their accounts and start jacking things around and their customers, and now they're calling customer service and they can't get Netflix. Now that is maliciousness. Maliciousness. I mean, I'm trying to sabotage it. I'm declaring war against it. I'm trying to destroy it. So that, two different tones. So you might have a kid out there that he just learned his hacking abilities and he just wants, you know, that little star on his shoulder that he was able to hack something. So it's like he gets on there and then it's like he hacked someone's personal computer and made your DVD drive to extract your DVD. And he's like, and, you know, as far as the younger generations out there, you know, and they think it's kind of cool. You know, it's like, oh, they're learning how to hack, and it's like, oh, I spooked someone out. They, you know, now this person thinking there's a freaking ghost in their house, and it's like, I got things moving in my house that I'm not initiating. So for the young generation, it's actually kind of fun for them. So, but that's what we need to focus on, is what snitches them, you know, this situation out. Is that we are not taking our own accountability and responsibility, and it sends a message to other nations out there. It's like, we are too prideful to say that we screwed up. We are being complacent. We've done a lot of complacent things. And it's like, oh, it's Russia, Russia. If, like I just explained to you, do I sweat? And when I encourage these people to hack my system, I know what it's capable of. I don't sweat it a bit. I go to sleep and no concern. Because I have a backup for a backup for a backup for a backup for a backup. And I use the principle of our alphabet. I go out 26 backups. Means if they get through this first barrier, if they were able to catch my window of opportunity, they still got 26 more barriers to get to. So, so I did, you know, it frustrates a lot of people. But the thing is, you have to set up in a way that protects you, and at the same time, it teaches people. So, like I said, with hacking Netflix, or anything as far as that goes. Now, as far as what is the true intentions of Russia, well, I'm not seeing malicious intent, because we're not down, lights are off, water's not shut off. It's like we're not being invaded by the Russians or anything like that. Things obvious, we hold these truths to be self-evident, of an invasion, of maliciousness. So so now, from the evidence that is presented to you, using the chicken concept, is that they're simply reaching over and smacking you in the back of the head and say, wake up. If I'm hacking this system, you're being complacent, you're becoming lazy, you know, you got ISIS wanting to kill you, you know, and it's like, I have some stake in this too, and if you fail, then we all fail. So, as far as, you know, all nations hacking each other, it's like a sense of competition, like we see in Olympics. It's a competition, because a lot of nations by now in 2017 is they know that, you know, it wouldn't do them any good to destroy you. Because they're destroying themselves. It's like Adam getting mad at Eve because Eve wasn't putting out. And she was getting, and then he kills her. He essentially is killing himself. So I just use that as a parable. But because people can relate to certain things. Okay, so now we have to look at the raw aspect of these things. Is if I was the president and our sense of word, other nations are not taking us seriously. Now, even though it wasn't my fault and I'm the president of president, leaders of leaders, I would say, okay, to the world and to our American people, there's been incompetency, there's been people being lazy, and what have you, whatever. It's like I saw on the news today, an officer was talking on his phone, and I guess an inmate or someone had escaped. When you're in a certain situation of responsibilities, you got to use a little common sense about things. And when it takes that one time, say like that one person gets over that wall, the southern border, the Mexican border, he looks like a Mexican, but he's an ISIS. And he's got like a nuclear warhead on his backpack. One of the, like a small warhead. Well, we know of this because the president carries a little football. And it can be you can put a big impact. I mean, something very small can even the odds up, per se. So I wouldn't necessarily, I would say with the United States, everyone has to learn the sense of humbleness, and people appreciate that. Say, hey, it wasn't my job, but, since I'm representing the people, I want to apologize to all the nations out there. But some people in here thought it was okay to be complacent, thought it was okay to have this God-gifted entitlement, and I would just go on. And I would apologize to all the nations, and I would also say that we are going to fix this. And if I have to, I will give them samples of it. So in terms of our hacking, say, well, hacking has been going on for a long, long time. As they say, fool me once, shame on you. But fool me twice, then shame on me. Primary is that you focus on the hacking. Why are you that weak? And then your secondary would be Russia or whoever nation is hacking our system. Because you want to divert your thinking, and that's the problem that we see out there. Is people are focusing on the symptoms. Oh, you got a snotty nose. Okay, let me get your snotty nose. And then you're not taking care of the cold. And your voice is hoarse. And you got an upset stomach. God forbid you think about, hey, if we target the cold, then all those items go away. So I would fix this, and I would tell Russia and China, and I would put a superior system in there. And I would put backup up on backups like I have in the seventh heaven. And say, hack away, people. Hack away. And that's when they will learn the frustration of Everett. So, Everett, you're being narcissistic. Well, the thing is, in terms of intelligence, it's an exaggeration of self. Now, if Pee Wee Herman came up here and says E equals MC squared, and you say, wait a minute, but that guy's a retard. You say, he's being narcissistic. Or someone who is entitlement. I'm on the sixth heaven, and everything is mine. And it's like, you shut the fuck up. So, I would you have to fix things. And then I would tell it, hey, hack away. Hack away. Because I've already established intent. It's like, I know JoJo, most of these people is like, they're wanting to hack Netflix. They want to see my door flop out and try to make me think there's a ghost in my house. Or they want some free Netflix. Fine, I give them some of their fun. But that's why we have to be awareness. So if I establish beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'm going to say Chuka Chaka Chaka Nation is truly want our status, They basically want to remove Americans, and they want to now be the new Americans. They not have a major problem. So, and if they were persisting on it, then I would open up my can of whoop ass. And just my sting that I would give you, like a bee stinging you, it would just rattle them down to the essence of their soul, their spirit. I don't have to go full-fledged. It's just enough. See, we have to learn control, sense of self and control. So if this is just enough, and they'll say, well, fuck, he just tapped me. That fucking hurt. It's like, oh, I want nothing part of him. It's like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson hit you, and he's in that 10% exception of laws of energy. Yeah, Mike Tyson is a 90-10. He will hit you with such force, far greater than what he is. And that's the deception, is you would think the kind of force that he can hit you with, he's got to be 10 times bigger. So I don't hit you so hard where I stick my fist right through your head. You know, I can just sting you, and you say, oh shit, that's just a sample? Oh, okay, we're cool. But, so, sum this up and look at it from different perspectives. That's how Everett does it. Rhyme and reason, logic, science. So if I'm going to set my system up and the Russians like to hack us, I'm also going to teach them too. And they're not going to have a choice, because the way they have to hack me is going to teach them certain elements of evolution. And there's a whole lot, I'm just saying, in a parable, Vladimir Putin, I mean, you have to know Russians. They're known to be rough around edges. So like if Vladimir Putin come in and says, Eric, go fuck yourself. Hey, nice to meet you too, Mr. I'm just exaggerating there, but if he comes in and says, Mr. Everett, it is a pleasure to meet you, he's out of his normal character. Then I'll say, hey, you don't look like and you don't sound like the person that I know. And because I know how people have stand-ins and lookalikes and Elvis impersonators, is what's wrong with you? You have to prove to me now that you are who I once knew. Okay, so that's why special police and investigators and the marshals, U.S. Marshals, is to pick up on things out of the ordinary. And sometimes you have to really fine-tune these things is like a neon sign. Okay. So we'll conclude that there on this hacking. As I'm not the least, I don't have the information, but from what I gather on I use my hands, collective information. And it's like people on the seventh heaven, and they say, oh, here comes Everett. It's symbolism. Collective information. But they say that out of endearment. Okay. So that's why, with certain things, it's not to jump to conclusion. We need to be humble. And if anything, apologize to other nations. That, hey, things have not been right. And other nations look upon us as their salvation, their hope of a picket fence, not world peace, but high functionality. So once I get this back, and we got things in place, like Donald Trump's draining the swamp. Part of draining the swamp is you got to clean up the freaking mess. It's not my mess, and I'm going to be pissed about it, but someone's got to clean it up. So, and I would invite these world leaders or representatives come over, and we'll show them around the United States, because they need confirmation too. You can't just tell people, because a lot of people have gotten into word slinging. Word slinging. It's like people, they get to know all these little words. It's like fascism. It's like, well, they're doing fascism, which we're going to do a video on fascism. And it's like, okay, when the government is trying to facilitate and trying to protect the people and put in balance amongst the capitalism and we the people that work for it, And they go, it's fascism, you're unjust. He said, no, I'm a facilitator. And it's because they want the government to butt out so they can be a Hitler within their company. And of course, they're using fascism with Hitler. Now, we're going to, on that video series, which of communications, is we're going to break it down. And it will make more sense to you. And it will also snitch out the way people use word slinging. It's like you get, I don't know how many times I've seen it. I've seen it on both and many genders and different skin tones. And it's like, you get this black man. I know you guys like to use black man or African American. I call 50 million shades of brown. Okay, say he's not or she's not getting her way, what he wants, or gaining from it. Okay, and then it's affirmative action, you're unfair, or he's a bigot, and you're like, I'm not being a racist. And it's like, have you ever heard the old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the oil? That's the concept in which they're using. There's no truth. When someone uses the word is, Everett is a male. That's a statement of conviction. He's a bigot. Where's your proof? No proof. Now you've given me a sense of falsehood. But now you're presenting it in a way as if it's already a fact. Because the word is a element of conviction. Is. Now, if they said Everett is acting like a fascist, he's acting like a narcissistic. So in terms of hacking, what there is, it's also a symptom as well. People are hacking into our words in a way, scrambling them around. They're bringing down the value of certain words. So when you use it a lot, you devalue it. So if you accuse everyone out there that does something you don't like, you're a fascist, you're a racist, you're a bigot. And say, oh God. And everyone starts doing it and say, oh shit, we got a world full of bigots. And that doesn't even sound right. Okay, so if you're all bigots, then this world is a bigotry. So what's your fucking complaint? Okay, there's a parable. Okay, it's how people use words to hack, to manipulate the structure of things, and to take it from a high functionality down to low functionality. So, like I said, people, they're not stupid. I mean, they're here, you're considered superior, you're considered awesome, and people have, unfortunately, they find the negative destructive, and they find the positive destructive. So, positive, destructive, and negative destructive. And then you wonder why we're on the fast track to extinction. Well, I don't know about you, but I surely do not want, I'm going to make damn sure extinction is not on my fucking resume. Oh, Everett, you said the word F. You're going to hell. And you say, am I? And it's like, if I have to listen to your ass, I'd rather be in hell. So, that's another way of hacking our structure, hacking our constitution, hacking people's thoughts, trying to control you. Hacking. Fascism. You know how many times I've been accused of being narcissistic? Okay, in terms of narcissistic, a mental or personality disorder, inflating sense of self, of their own importancy and admiration. It means, I'm from Harvard, and because of me, you are superior. No. With me, it's like, I will tell you, I'm the most retarded and the most intelligent person you ever meet, and everything in between. But you got some people, they want this entitlement. It's because of me, people, I showed up to the sixth heaven, and it's because of me, thank you. But why do people use narcissistic? Why do they use these words? Everett, why don't you do a spell check? They use it as a means to legitimize, to basically, in other words, say that you're stupid, so stop talking. Okay. And because they can't refute what you say, but they use other things. He's narcissistic, is to demerit you. It's like, oh, he's narcissistic. Because what inflated? That means I have intelligence. I'm behaving in a way that I want all the credit. No. If you know me, is I want is all. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want us all to have the fucking credit because that's how it's designed to be. Not the 3 jumps out and says, it's my credit. And it's me because of you guys. And it's like, get the back in line. So, hacking is on multiple levels. And we're concerned about Russia. Okay? So we have to identify, like I just said, energy comes to a negative negative, a negative positive, a positive negative, and a positive positive. So as we know with the vagina, men, we love vaginas. So, it's in the center of the body. So if you're going to focus on something, focus on how to utilize, implement in your evolution and development and fine-tuning the negative positive, means negative, that have negative tones, like Everett said, fuck you. Oh my God. Okay, but I say it in a way to motivate you. Now, if I said in a different language, and it means to derogate, always beating you down, and say, oh, okay, the person's feeling confident in themselves, and I go over and I say, you freaking idiot, for the sole purpose of trying to belittle you. Because I see you coming up. Okay, so you'll learn that about me. So you focus on those little elements of being negative, constructive, and positive, constructive. And try the obvious, the negative. That's extinction realms. That's extinction realms. So positive would, for the sake of understanding of a parable, it'd be like the Pope. Has the thing on his head that represents our spirit that controls the brain. So try to focus in the middle, because with the Pope, there's only one Pope out of 7 billion people. So, and in terms of this side, extinction, there's only one extinction. And it can kick 7 billion asses. It can kick 3 trillion asses. It is that effective as being the 7-pound foot. It doesn't have to be any bigger than the 7-pound foot. It'll act as a 7-pound foot, and it'll use you as its tool to destroy yourself. Okay, so anyways, we'll end it right there. So with this hacking system, we can go on and on and on and on, volumes after volumes after volumes after volumes, and hitting in different angles, and then part of this thing, when I say negative, positive, and then a negative, negative, and then a positive, negative, and positive, positive, there's also one more element, and it's neutral. Neutral. Ground. Okay? So essentially, you got 4 blocks, and then a center in the middle. 5. We have a star of United States, a 5-pointed star. Now, the Star of David is a 6-pointed star. Okay, so in the beginning, ground zero, Israel is ground zero. Then you go from the east, you develop United States. And so the symbolism that we have in our government, in our dollar bills, and everything else, is we are Christianity. Means we are facilitators of bringing people together in a high functionality. You say, I want world peace. That is a derivative of high functionality. You problem solve, you bring about peace. You say, I want peace. And you say, I want world peace. And it's like, I want you to shut the fuck up and listen to what I'm saying. Functionality. Because extinction wants you to think peace. It wants you to wipe that snotty nose and not worry about that cold. Because if the cold stays in you, weeks upon weeks upon weeks, it'll kill you. I'm just saying metaphorically. Now, I have a good friend of mine. He's dead now, but his little girl died because of a cold virus. So it can kill you. Of a reality, we hold these truths to be self-evident, and that's what led to my buddy, and why he committed suicide. Because he felt, in terms of karma, that somehow that he could intervene when there wasn't. Okay, but You can't take that out of a parent, of responsibility. Okay, but as an example, hacking. You can hack into a person's mind, their thinking, their behaviors, and multiple things. And you say inauguration. A lot of people ain't showing up. Is because the human behaviors out there. And it's like if you're working for me and say, I don't like Trump, and say, if I see you at the Trump inauguration, it just so happens so convenient we come back to my company, you get fired. And that's done all the time. And that's why they throw this fascism, and that's why some companies, they only hire Democrats. That's a form of racism, prejudice. And we only hire Republicans. We only hire this. We only hire, because if you only hired, only whites and no blacks in there, someone will be screaming racism or unfair practice. So why do we have companies out there that is only hiring Democrats? And you say, well, you got a few here and a few there. I mean, believe me, the company out there, if they want to hold a certain tone of things, because if you got a lot of Democrats here and they're successful and they make money and they got a lot of families, that means you got a bigger family. So in California, so now you have 10 billion people in California. And you think that, hey, if we can get 10 million votes or 10 billion votes, that we can win this election. And it's because we want to convince you that that popular vote is the best of votes. So now you know at least another poking hint as the significance behind our electoral college, because of the multitude of human behavior that we deal with. Hacking. So hacking is more than just hacking your computer, hacking your thinking, where they get you to think for yourself, that you think you're thinking for yourself, but it's actually their ideas. They hate, with different skill sets and tools in which they apply on you. And if it's your job, you say, oh shit, I want to lose my job, but, okay, go Hillary, I don't want to lose my job. They do it all the time. So hacking, this hacking incident is just a symptom of the bigger issue. Now, if you weren't able to see it, then look in the mirror and say, I am pathetic, because it is so in your face. I'm surprised that you're unable to see it. But when you're so close to something, and it's like, I'm in love. And it's like, but why did she leave me? And it's like, because you're so involved in it, you weren't able to pull yourself back to see the deception that was happening. I'm just using it as a parable. But we see it time in and time out with human behavior. And it's like a never-ending story. It's like, and then you wonder why people just say, ah! So, we end it right there. January the 7th, 13 more days till President Trump into the inauguration in my throat. So, January the 7th, 2017. Now, if you want to give back your blessings, your appreciation, your donation, or whatever you would like to call it, you can do so at PayPal, that's PayPal.me/ Everett, capital EVERETT, capital PIERCE. And with that, I do appreciate your time. We've covered a lot of pertinent and important topics that kind of sheds light onto this hacking situation. It's far bigger than a nation out there hacking in. We got our own people, the Democratic people. They're destroying our own democracy. And they say, well, they're destroying our democracy. No, it's being destroyed within. Do you want to sit at the table and let's hear whatever has to say? Because I guarantee that you're not going to want to hear what I have to say. And you better cater something in, because I got a lot of shit to say. We hold these truths to be self-evident. That's why a lot of people don't like to say, you're narcissistic, I don't have to listen to you. People are funny. But, okay. Thank you for your time, and Godspeed.